G'day folks, Jumbo here.
G'day folks, Jumbo here again. Well, I'd like to tell you a couple more stories about my good mate, Kevin, Shakey the Clown. He's the one that he can drink, the biggest drinker in Adelaide. And he was only a small guy. There's that photo again. It's a bad photo, but he was only about up to there on me, small guy, but he could drink. Now, he ran the agency where he'd hire out clowns, magicians, jugglers, fire breathers, stilt walkers, all that sort of thing, and of course do the jobs himself. And so I'm going to tell you how I met him. And I worked with Kevin for many years, but when I was 16, I joined a youth circus where they teach kids and teenagers how to do circus skills, and it was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. We had a 5-meter trapeze rig with 10-year-olds doing all sorts of stuff, and stilt walkers, fire breathers, or most people were under 16. And but look, we would go out and do shows and raise money, and that would go back to the circus school to pay for the equipment and the teachers and all that sort of thing. But occasionally Kevin would use us to go out and perform. So I'll give you an example. Now, the council would ring up and they'd say, we want 10 performers, and he'd say, no worries, $1,000, sort of 100 each back then. What he would then say is, look, I've been supporting the local youth circus, and the kids there are great. They're as good as the adults, and you can tell people you're supporting a community organisation sort of thing, and the council loves that. So, ching ching, he's just made money. I'll tell you how. Okay, so he rings up the youth circus and he says, okay, we need 5 stilt walkers, 2 unicyclists, jugglers, blah, blah, blah. He said, look, I've got $600. Are you happy with that? Now, all they had to do was get 2 combi vans. We all got in, with our stuff. There we go. So the circus was happy, $600, So he's just put 400 in his pocket. This is Kevin for you. He knew how to make money. But once I left the youth circus, I actually went and worked for the agency, and I was a clown, magician, stilt walker. Did I show you that? No, I didn't. There you go. That's me on stilts. So worked with him for many, many years. And as I said, I've talked about him previously, us going to pubs, getting drunk as clowns and that sort of thing. But there was often we get booked to go into the country, and like most performers, and there was a time when we were staying upstairs, so we went into the bar, and dressed in costume, and it's quite strange, people like to see clowns getting really drunk, so they buy us drinks. I'm not complaining, but it's hit and miss. Usually it's cool, everyone's having a great time, but occasionally it can get a bit violent. Now, you've got the nice blonde lady there, and you're making a balloon for her, and she's, oh, clown, oh, like that. The boyfriend's sitting over here, he's getting absolutely pissed off because he wants the attention, those sort of things. It can go bad. But this particular night, this is where another story where Kevin turns it in his favour, so to speak. So I'm busy doing magic and balloons, and he's up the other end of the bar, and I'm drinking away, and all of a sudden I hear these big people, see these big people coming in, and they go, oh, you poof, they're a clown, and they're starting to threaten him. So my immediate reaction, I put all the magic in my pocket, I grabbed a bar stool, I need a weapon. They're not going to talk to my mate like that. But before I had a chance, he just walked out. He didn't even acknowledge them. He just walked out. Now, him and his mates had a blues band. Absolutely brilliant. I spent many, many hours in the Adelaide Hills getting shit-faced, listening to this cool music, and one of his specialties was the harp. Harmonica, blues harp. So about 2 minutes later, he wanders back in, sits down on the seat, still hasn't acknowledged them, has a scull of his beer, closes his eyes and starts playing the harp. Now, all the anger of these idiots, these big farmer guys, melted away. Oh, shit, clown. Oh, we didn't realise. Oh, yeah, you're cool, mate. They started buying him beers. So he's turned a potentially very dangerous situation into them buying him drinks, And I mean, it does happen. A mate recently, he's a comedian. He was working in the country, and he's having a couple of beers after the show. Guy comes and beats him up, and he's nearly bleeding on the ground, Strange things happen. But But no, there was talk about free beer. There was the Cooper's Brewery. Anyone in Adelaide knows Cooper's, best beer out. So they're having their Christmas party, and they could have rang any agency in Adelaide, but as fate would have it, they rang Performers Network. That was Kevin's business, the agency. So the beer is free. Perfect job for Kevin. So he's booked to do 2 hours, walking around doing magic and balloons and all that sort of thing. And so he's throwing back the beers the whole time. So by the end of the gig, 2 hour mark, he's quite drunk, and the kids think this is hilarious. The adults are all getting drunk, and so is the clown, But he didn't leave. Free beer. He's not going anywhere. So about, well into the 3 hour mark, the big boss comes over. Now, this is Mr. Cooper, the grandson of the guy that started the business, I think. And he's got a pissed off look on his face, And he goes up and says, "Clown, have you been paid?" And Shakey goes, "Yeah, it's all right." He said, "Well, how about you piss off and stop drinking all my bloody beer?" Like swearing in front of the kids, Excuse me. He's just been abused by the big boss, But one of my favourite all-time stories, and this is where he got his name from. I'll tell you about that later. Now, okay, so he's been out working and did 4 jobs in a day, and sometimes we actually get quite busy. My record was 9 birthdays in I think 2 days. But anyway, he's done the 4 gigs, gone home, lit a cigarette. Oh, wind as well today. Oh, Jesus Christ. Goes to the answering machine and it's flashing away, the old answering machines with the red light, So he's about to press the button to see who's been calling him, and the phone rings. And it's one of the mothers that's booked a clown from the agency. So she is absolutely ropeable. She's saying, "That clown you sent out today, I think he was still drugged. He reeked of alcohol. When he was juggling, he was dropping the balls, and his hands were shaking when he was doing the balloon animals and all this." And okay, so Kevin, this is pure Kevin. He starts going, "Oh my God, I won't have this. I won't have alcoholics, drunks, clowns working at the agency. Oh, I am so angry. Really, I am so angry. It will never work in South Australia again. I guarantee that, He's saying, as soon as I am, I'm going to bring this bastard, and I'm sorry about my language, I'm going to bring this bastard and tell him he's finished, And he's going on like that. Then he says, "Look, I know you've had a very traumatic morning, but I tell you what, I'm going to offer you, if you'll use this again, I'm going to offer you a free show, and I will come out personally and do the job for you to make sure it all works, So now the mother's happy, she knows that this clown is no longer going to work again, and next time she's going to get a free show with the boss of the agency. Now, Kevin had been drinking all night with his blues mates, playing in the band, till 3 o'clock in the morning drinking scotch or whatever, and possibly more. What she didn't realise was the clown that she was complaining about was Kevin, who took the call. I find it so funny, and that's where he got his name Shakey, the hand shaking, but absolutely bloody hilarious, he just fell on his feet, balls of steel to do that, to pretend he's the agent. Well, he was, but so there you go. Really good, mate. He's no longer with us, and plenty of more stories to tell about Kev, but well, there you go. All right, now just before we go, 6,600 views, somewhere around there. So thank you very much. I appreciate every single one of you that watch the videos, because that makes an old clown happy. So really appreciate it. All right, well, you know what I'm going to say next. See you in the next video. Catch you later from Jumbo.